Hello, third graders. Welcome to lesson 7.8. All right, look at my dollar bill. You would probably want to have that, right? Let's see. Would you rather? Oh, I like these kinds of questions. Would you rather have 2/2 of my dollar or 2/10 of my dollar? Just your thoughts right now. What do you think? All right, we're going to revisit that question in a little bit. I'd like for you to open up to page 238 in your math journal. Okay, now on page 238, we're going to do some of this together. So you're going to write as we write. This says Steve, we'll call him Steve Johnson. Steve is sorting the number sides of his fraction cards into two groups. Fractions greater than 1/2 and fractions less than 1/2. But he made a mistake. All right, so look at the fractions on this side. Well, let me not, I should not erase the heading there. He has these as fractions that are greater than 1/2. And he has these that are less than 1/2. Now I'm going to tell you that he only made one mistake. And I would like for you can use any of your tools that you have. The fraction number line poster that we used the other day. It's also in your home link book if you want to use that number line. Let me check the page really quick. It's on page 194 if you want to use that. You have fraction circles as well, and then you have those fraction bars that we drew the other day. What do you think is the mistake that he made? All right, it's one of these over here. One of these is not greater than 1/2, and it is this guy right here. All right, well, let's think about 3/8. 3 out of 8. How do you know that 3/8 is not greater than 1/2? How do you know? Okay, there's a couple different ways that you know. You could look on your number line poster and you could see that 1/2 is closer to 1/2, right? And that 3/8 is a little bit less than that. You could also think, what I like to do is I like to think, well, what's half of 8? Half of 8 is 4, right? So 4/8 would be half. So 3/8 is less than that, isn't it? Isn't that, it's kind of an interesting way to think through this. So mark an X. Oops, I put the wrong thing. Mark an X. What this direction says, what mistake did Steve make? Use your fraction number line poster, fraction strips, fraction circles, or fraction cards to help you. You have lots and lots of tools. Mark an X on the card that Steve put in the wrong group. Show or explain how you decided. I like to do both, show and explain. I think that just one of those isn't usually good enough. So I'd like to, if I have my number lines here, right? If this is 1/2 and this is 4/8, I should have drawn this smaller, but that's okay. Then 3/8 would be here, right? And it's closer. 0 is on the end and 1/2 is on the other end. As a sentence, I would explain 3/8, not number sign eighths. 3/8 is, well, that's going to be too big, is in the wrong category because it should be less. Nope, now you can't see what I'm typing. Less than 1/2. 4/8 equals 1/2. So I know that 23/8, nope, 3/8 is less All right, with a partner, write a rule that Steve could use to check whether a fraction is greater than 1/2 or less than 1/2. All right, so what could he do if he is trying to put these in the right column? What's his rule? Okay, maybe he uses the number line poster, and some of you might have said a different rule, and that's fine. Steve should look at a number line to see if a fraction is closer to 0. If it is less than 1/2. Now, of course, if it's closer to 1 than 1/2, like we've talked about recently, then that would be, greater than 1/2. So, let's see, we just finished that. We're going to continue on here because our goal, which we haven't talked about yet, but our goal is going to be able to order fractions with the same numerator and write a rule for ordering similar sets of fractions. So you're going to be creating a rule as well. Okay. And actually we'll do some of this together. So when we think about fractions, right, and this is a lot to think about. So let's just show a couple of these here to start. If the numerator is less than half of the denominator, then the fraction is less than 1/2. So what that means is that when we had 3/8, the numerator 3 was less than half of the denominator, right? The half of the denominator is 4, so 3 is less than 4. If the numerator is greater than half of the denominator, right? Half of the denominator is 4. So if we had 5/8, well, now we know that's more than 1/2, which would be 4/8. Okay, we've learned a lot about these fractions. If the denominator is less than double the numerator, now we're getting into just some different possibilities. So if you double this, all right, if you double 6, if you turn this in, if you double the 3, 6/8, well, then that would only be less than 1 whole. So that's going to be on this side too. Okay, so just a few ways that you could think about writing the rule. There's the standard that we've been working with recently, comparing two fractions with the same numerator or same denominator. Okay, so this is what we're going to work on together here. Okay, and it says, for each problem, you may use your fraction tools to help: fraction circles, fraction strips, fraction number line poster, fraction cards. Think about these fractions. All right, see them all? You have 1/6, 1/8, 1/10, 1/3, 1/4, 1/2, and 1/5. Which of those is the smallest amount? Think carefully. All right, the smallest amount is 1/10. Think about this, right? Visualize this. If you have a pizza and it's cut into 10 pieces and you only get to eat one, you didn't get to eat much pizza. Which of these is the largest amount of pizza? It's 1/2, right? If you eat half of a pizza, that's a lot. That's a ton of pizza, isn't it? All right, so notice what we've got so far. What number, so we know what's first and we know what's last. What number do you think comes next here? Hey, it's 1/8. 1/8 is still a pretty small amount of pizza. 1 out of 8 pieces. Those pieces are a little bit bigger than these pieces, but you still didn't eat much. Do you see the pattern here? Watch for the pattern. Let's see, 1/6 would be next. Then 1/5. Then 1/4. Then 1/3. Okay, so here's the smallest, and this is the biggest. What is the pattern that you notice? You should see that if we have all the numerators the same, if all the numerators are the same, then as we make the denominator bigger, as the bottom number gets bigger, as it gets smaller, then the pieces get bigger. Do you see what I'm saying there? Think about pizza, right? If a pizza cut into three pieces into thirds has really big pieces. A pizza cut into 10 pieces has really small pieces. So the piece size is moving up, even though the numbers get smaller. Isn't that weird? It's like reverse. Okay? Let's use a piece of the question. The pattern I notice is that pieces get bigger as the denominator. Remember, that's the correct word for bottom number. Denominator gets smaller. So 1/2 is the biggest one. 1/2 right here. Whoops. 1/2 is bigger than 1/10. All right, you help me down on the bottom one too, then I'll show you what you're going to do. I bet you can do all of these. Let's see if you can type. I know you're going to have to type in several things here. Can you put these in order from the smallest here to the greatest here? Okay, it should have looked very similar to the one that we just did. 2/10 is smallest, then 2/8, 2/6, 2/5, 2/4, 2/3. I'm not sure why they didn't put on 2/2, but that would of course be even bigger, right? 2/2. It's not on there, but that would have been there. And what do we notice? We noticed, we noticed the same thing, don't we? What's happening to these numbers? Tell me what's happening. All right, right? As the numerator, if you make the numerator more, then the pieces get smaller. Here's proof. Think about this: 2 out of 100. Somebody might look at that and say, 100, that's a lot, right? 100, yeah, a lot. But imagine this is pizza. A pizza divided into 100 pieces. Those pieces are going to be so small. Okay, so you really have to do, this is where visualizing, we work on that in reading, right? This reading skill can be very useful in math here, because getting a picture in your mind of these fractions can help you to know what's smaller and what's bigger. All right, your home link today is your assignment. Home link 7.8 on page 193. And it has you're going to be sorting into numbers that are less than 1 whole and greater than 1 whole. That's interesting. So a new type of sorting here. And then you are going to write the pattern that you see. So the same thing that we've been doing with a little bit of a twist to it, right? A little bit different, because we've already done sorting greater than 1/2 or less than 1/2. All right, let's get back to my question at the beginning and see if you have the same answer or if you have changed your answer. If you want my whole dollar, if you want the most money, you should have picked this, right? 2/2, that's all of my dollar. You get the whole thing. If you pick this guy, you only get 2/10, and 2/10, right? 10 dimes make a dollar. So you're only going to get 20 cents. I hope you didn't pick that. Now you know why fractions are important, right? You want 2/2 of the dollar. Which is the whole thing. All right, third graders, I hope that you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about putting fractions in order and comparing them and seeing which ones are bigger and some patterns that we can notice, because that's what our goal here was today. All right, if you have any questions, please reach out and let me know. and good luck.